Good morning, all of you. Welcome back to my class. So, in this video, we are discussing about 10 MCQs of user-defined methods. This is the third video in that MCQ series for class 10 and also for class 12. So, let's start. The first one, which method invocation reflect in the actual arguments when changes made in formal arguments? So you should remember two types of method invocation. One is call by value, another one is call by reference. These are the two types of method invocation. So here you need to know the definition of call by value or the mechanism behind call by value and call by reference. Then you can choose the right answer here. So which method invocation reflect in the actual argument when changes made in the formal argument? That is a question. So let's see what is call by value. So there are two types of method invocation, two types of method invocation. Method invocation means method calling. So first one is call by value, second one is call by reference, and call by value means in this method the actual arguments are passed to formal argument. Here actual arguments are passed to formal argument and that are copied to the formal argument and works with them as needed. In the case of call by reference, in the term reference, the actual arguments are passed by reference. It is passed by reference that are copied to the formal arguments and works with them as needed. So this is an important difference between call by value and call by reference. Call by value means actual parameters are passed to formal parameters or formal arguments that are copied to formal arguments and works with them. But in the case of call by reference, the actual arguments are passed by reference that are copied to the formal argument and works with them. Okay. So in the case of call by value, the changes made in formal argument doesn't reflect in actual argument. Whatever changes we are making or whatever changes we are doing in the formal argument, whatever changes we are doing in the formal argument, that doesn't reflect to the actual argument. That doesn't reflect to the actual argument. In the case of call by reference, you know that is by the reference. So definitely it will change or it will reflect the changes whatever we have given in the formal argument. So we can say here formal whatever changes in the formal argument doesn't reflect in actual argument, but in the case of call by reference, whatever changes we are doing in formal arguments will change or will reflect in that actual argument. Okay. Then in call by value, in this method we can use only the primitive data types, that are the fundamental data types we can use. Call by value means the parameters will be in primitive data types or fundamental data types. In call by reference means definitely you know that is only by the reference data type. Only by the reference data type such as object, arrays, class, like that. So these are the three main points you have to remember for call by value and call by reference. So what is the right answer for this first one? Which method invocation reflect in the actual argument when change is made in the formal argument? It should reflect. Which one is that? Yes, that is call by reference. Call by reference is the right answer. Okay. So the second one, choose the method declaration for the call by value. You know that call by value means it will consider or the parameters we are passing in call by value will be primitive data types or the fundamental data types. So we need to write the method declaration. How will you write the method declaration? Method declaration here, the void process. Void is a return type, process is a method name, and one parameter has given. So let's see which one is the first one. Void process intab. So this is a data type of primitive data type, that is an integer data type. Okay, second one, void process sample t. Sample definitely it becomes a class or reference data type, and by the t means that is an object. So it is a reference. We are passing a reference. It is not void process m. This is not the right declaration. We can't pass a direct value like this in the method declaration. And here also it is not right because we can't give the direct value, integer value or any parameter directly when we start the method. header, or in the method declaration we can't write like that, is it? So which one is the right declaration for method for call by value? Yes, the right one is this one. Void process interim. We know that data value is or integer type. Data value of m belongs to data type integer value. So void process interim is the method declaration for the call by value. You have to remember call by value means only primitive data type. So let's see, check which one is having primitive data type, which parameter passed as primitive type. That one we can choose as method declaration for call by value. Okay. Third one, the function which does not change or modify the state of the argument that are received when called is not. That doesn't change or modify the state of the argument when it called. So, what is that function? Here, 4 options are there. Impure function, pure function, mixed function, constructor. So, you need to know the definition of pure and impure function. So, pure means it doesn't change or modify the state of argument. Doesn't change or modify the state of argument, that is known as pure function. When it changes or modifies the state of argument that are received when called is known as impure function. So the definition of impure function means doesn't change. Impure function means change or modify. Pure function means it is pure, that's why it doesn't change or modify. So the answer is pure function. Pure means it doesn't change or modify. Doesn't change or doesn't modify. Okay, that is pure function. Mixed function, there is no such functions in our programming. Constructor means definitely that is a method to initialize, having the same class name to initialize the data members. Fourth question, function overloading is the way to implement inheritance, polymorphism, class encapsulation. So what is function overloading? Defining functions by the same name which are differentiated by their data types or the number of arguments or signature is known as function overloading. So method name is same but different arguments or different data type arguments and the number of arguments. Different argument in the sense different data types and different number of arguments. So this is known as function overloading. So function overloading means defining functions by the same name which are differentiated by their data types or the number of arguments or the signature is known as function overloading. So in object-oriented programming, we have a very powerful concept in which the data can be utilized in more than one form with the help of function overloading. So function overloading is the way to implement polymorphism. The concept object-oriented polymorphism means poly means many forms, morphs means forms, so many forms. Example, an object with different forms, or we can tell an example as finding area. Consider we are finding an area. Method is same, area for all the object we can tell the process is area, but different object. Just consider finding the area of a circle, finding the area of a square, finding the area of a rectangle. So these three are three objects and the process name is same, method name is same, area. To calculate the area of a circle, to calculate the area of a square, calculate the area of a rectangle. So the method name is same but different parameters or the arguments, different data types or number of arguments. That is the concept of function overloading. And here area is a form, area is the process and we are applying that process in different objects. So that concept under polymorphism. So function overloading is the way to implement which OOPS concept? Yes, polymorphism. Polymorphism means a data can be utilized in more than one form. That is polymorphism concept. So the next one, identify the function overloading. Method declaration statements you have to identify. Integer is the data type in the first one. Integer. Okay. Method name is calculate. Calc. Cal. So method name is same. First one is different parameter of the primitive data type of integer. Second one is no parameter. Third one is different parameter of floating data type. Second option, void calculate is the method. Here cal, here cal. So this is not a method overloading. Method overloading, same method name but different parameters. So second one is not right. Then third one, void cal. Yes, void cal float v floating. Three methods having same method name and same data type parameters. So this is also not a method overloading concept. String data type cal is the method name. Void calculate is the method name. So this is also not a method overloading concept. So which one is the right method overloading? What is method overloading? Method name having same method name but different parameters or different number of parameters or different data type is known as function overloading or the method overloading. So the first option is right. Integer is the return type of three methods. Cal is the method name and each one having different parameters. First one is integer data type, second one is without parameter, third one is floating data type. So this is the first one is the right option. Right answer for the question number 5. Next one, function overloading means method having, yes, that you know, method having same name but different data type parameters. So this is the first one is the right answer. You know that method having same name but different data type parameters. Number of parameters may differ and the data type will also differ. So the seventh one, what is the output? Class test. Public for inside the class test we have two methods. One is public void main, second one is public static void run. So here you have first one is public void main. So you know that there is no static method. So this is a non-static method. And inside this main method we have a calculation part int y equal to n plus v. N plus v means 5 plus 16 equal to, you know, the value as 21. So you will apply this question mark. This one is ternary operator. You know that our conditional operator. It will perform 21 less than or greater than or equal to 25. If it is true means it will execute the first segment or it will go to the second one. So what is the output? We will get the output as the output equal to 20 as per the concept. As for this code snippet, we will get the output equal to 20. So the next method is public static void run. This is a static method and here this is a non-static method and we have called this non-static method here as main method. So what is the output of this question? The output is equal to 20. Is it right? Or output equal to 10 or compiled error or no output? Which one is the right answer? Yeah, it will show an error, is it? It will show an error. So the compiled error is the right answer because this is a non-static method. Non-static method cannot be accessed directly to the static method. For that we need to use the object reference. We have to create the object. Through the object reference only we can access a non-static to static. So it will show an error as compiled error. Don't blindly choose the output equal to 20 as per this code snippet. This is a method and this method is called inside this static method. While it is calling inside the static method, it will show a compiled error. Okay. So the next one, the same question. Class name is test. Method name public void main. Inside main method. This is a non-static again. This is a static method. Inside the static method, we have called the non-static. So we know that some error will be there, compiled error will be there. We can't get the proper output. So what is the option? Which option is the right one? Compiled an error, non-static method, main method cannot be referenced to from a static content, or it should be always static or no error. Which one is the right one? Yes, we know that first one is the right one because it will show an error like that. Non-static method, main method cannot be referenced from a static content. Okay, so the error, compiled an error, non-static method, main cannot be referenced from a static content. So the error will show like this, compilation error, okay. It won't, the first one is the right one, second and no, third is wrong. Then we are moving to the ninth question. Function name should be a. Which one? It should be a. Function name means that is user defined one. You know that when we are using the user defined concept or user defined variable or method or object or class, it should be a which type of token? Is it a keyword? No. Keyword is a reserved word we don't use. Is it an identifier? Yes, it is an identifier. Identifier are the building blocks of program, and identifier means user defined one. As per the rules we need to write for an identifier concept. Is it? Literals means that are constant, numbers it is not wrong. It is also wrong. Numbers also wrong. So which one is the right answer? Identifier. Identifier is using to identify that object or a variable or a class or in method name. So function name should be a identifier. You have to remember the rules when we are writing an identifier. Okay. So that the 10th question, what is the output? Here a code snippet has given. We need to find the output of this one. Void factorial is the method name. Factorial in the fact equal to 1, I equal to 1 till I less than or equal to 5, I plus plus, fact equal to fact into 1, system.out print fact plus equal to. Then we are calling that public void main. Inside the main method we are calling this factorial. So when a program executes, first the compiler will comes to the main method. Execution, you know that the Java program executor start from the main method. So while it executes from the main method, it will find a method calling statement and it will go to the definition part of that particular method. And it will execute, then it will pass the value here. So what is the here calculation or process here? Factorial, finding the factorial. So what will be the output? How it will display? That is the answer. Okay. So you know that for I equal to 1, it is inside the factorial method, I equal to 1. You know that when I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 5. Yes, 1 less than or equal to 5. Then if it is true means we need to calculate fact equal to. So we are writing fact equal to fact into I. Fact is already initialized as 1. 1 into 1 equal to 1. So then next one is system.out print fact plus and one space is also there. You know that here without curly braces. Here there is no curly braces inside the for to represent the for. So you can consider this is only the first statement. Very first statement is inside the for loop. Remaining all are coming out of the for. So how it will execute? Okay. Without curly braces means you consider very first statement, only very first statement inside the for loop, or you can write like this inside, after the for loop, open the curly brace, the first statement, then close it, okay. So first one fact equal to 1, after this the control will go to the increment operator, so I becomes 2 and you will check the condition 2 less than or equal to 5, yes. So what is the value of fact? Fact first one is equal to 1. Now 1 into 2 equal to 2. Then again I equal to 3. It will go as f equal to 2 into 3 equal to 6. Then I equal to 4. Yes, f equal to 6 into 4 equal to 24. I equal to 5. Yes, still 5. F equal to 120. Then I equal to 6, the condition becomes wrong, it will come out of the for loop and it will print system.out print fact equal to. Fact is the variable, it is not printing as the actual string, it is calling the variable value. So what is the output of this one? Is it the first one? What will be the output? Is it the first one? Fact equal to 120? No. Sorry, I will use another color, green color. This. No, this is not the right one, because fact here, this fact is a variable calling the variable. So that value 120 is here, is it? Finally, we will get the fact is equal to 120. Yeah, 120, then a space, okay. Or can we write like this, 1, 2, 6, 4? This because a fact is equal to first one, 1, 2, 6, 24, 120. No, this is also not right. This is also not right. So what is the right value? 120 is the right value. When it calls method, main method, when it calls public void main method, inside the main method, it calls the factorial, and factorial means these all the process will execute inside the factorial, and it will pass the value as 120. So the right answer as 120. So here you have to remember, without curly braces inside the loop or method, it will consider only the very first statement. So especially in the loops, you will get some questions like this to make confuse. So without curly braces, if you are getting any statements under for loop means, you will consider only the very first statement inside the curly braces or inside that particular loop. Okay. So these are the 10 questions. I hope all of you understood. So see you in the next video. Okay. Thank you all of you. If you have any doubt, just comment here and subscribe, like and share. Thank you.